Hi, parents. Thanks for joining me for my second episode of Resource Review, in which I review resources for you and help you figure out what will be most helpful for you and your family before you buy. Today, we're going to focus on a really important and heavy issue, one that is unfortunately really relevant right now, even in 2020. I wish that we had solved this by now, but we haven't. And so we need to keep learning and growing and acting on behalf of justice and teaching our children. We're going to talk about racism. Yesterday was Pentecost Sunday, and I won't lie to you. I cried most of the day, and not just like the little weepy tears that sometimes come out when I'm like washing dishes and thinking about something sad. No, I ugly cried multiple times because you see, my church, which I love and I serve gladly, my church was mostly silent on Pentecost, in the midst of protests nationwide as a response to the recent murders of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd. We were pretty much silent, and my heart was broken again. Pentecost, the day God sent the Holy Spirit and formed the church, was special in so many different ways. And one of them was that on that particular day, people from all over, from Asia, from Africa, all over, were in Jerusalem for a festival. And so when the Holy Spirit was poured out and the church was formed in power and in unity, we reflected the great diversity of God's creation. And yet now we're so divided that churches like mine, which is a dominantly white church, have a hard time openly grieving with our Asian brothers and sisters when they're targeted by racism during COVID-19, and grieving with our Black brothers and sisters when their people continue to be killed at disproportionate rates without justice. There is a deep-seated sin in our nation and in our own hearts that needs to be dealt with. And so today I am reviewing for you a kid's book about racism by Jelani Memory. If you'd like to see the whole book, I'm going to put a link in the description box to the author Jelani reading the book aloud, and you'll get to see all of the pages and see and hear the full text. So that link will be below. But here's what I love about this book. I love that it's in the pictureless book style. And so it forces kids to engage with the words that are being read and not just be distracted by pictures. I love that it's meant to start conversations. I love that it defines racism clearly in a way that kids can understand. And it's a great jumping off point. I love that this book addresses feelings, what racism feels like, and taps into the developmental places of childhood. I love that this book is written for 6 and up, because conversations about racism should start young. Here's why you can't rely on this book alone. First, conversations about race should start earlier than age 6. Studies have shown that kids, particularly white kids, start to show favoritism towards their own race by kindergarten. So conversations around differences, kindness, inclusion, and empathy should start younger. Second, this book is a primer. It's an introduction. It hits on the big ideas of racism, but goes very little into the history of our country or your particular area. It alludes to microaggressions, but doesn't go very far into that tricky territory. So relying on this book alone will leave your conversations lacking depth, and it won't deepen your own understanding, which honestly, and I'm speaking for myself too, it needs to be deepened. Here are things you should consider reading or listening to or looking up on YouTube to watch an interview with the author. The book, So You Want to Talk About Race, by Ijeoma Oluo. The book, The Fire Next Time, by James Baldwin. The book, White Fragility, by Robin DiAngelo. The book, Biased, by Jennifer Eberhardt. The book, How to Be Anti-Racist, by Ibram Kendi. The book, The New Jim Crow, by Michelle Alexander. And there is so much more, friends. There's so much more out there. Lastly, learn about the history of your area and your city. Did or does your area experience white flight? Do you understand what that is? Do you know how it's affected your city? What does redlining look like in your area? What are the police policies and trainings and protocols in your area? Is your police force being trained in implicit bias? Are they being trained in de-escalation? Are they receiving sensitivity training regularly? By learning more, you can have better conversations over the long haul with your kids, with your neighbors, with your city officials, and within your place of worship or your sphere of influence. Thank you for watching this video and for learning about a kid's book about racism. And thank you for your willingness to engage in this really hard topic. I'll see you next time. Bye.